Welcome, everybody. We're so excited that you are here. We're excited to have you be a part of the student employment webinar. Congratulations on being accepted to Gonzaga University. Congratulations on making that college decision. For many of you, you have made that college decision. You've decided to become a ZAG this fall, and we're so grateful and excited that you're going to join our community. For those of you who are still making that decision, we certainly hope that you will choose to become a ZAG. We would love to have you be a part of our campus community, and we feel that we will be stronger as a result of you being here on campus. Let's just get a quick sense of where people are coming from. You will notice that the ability to talk, the ability to chat, that has been limited due to the high number of participants. But I'm going to go ahead and allow all attendees to chat. If everybody could take just a quick minute and could type in the chat where you're calling in from tonight, that would be wonderful, just so we can get an idea of where all of our future ZAGs are coming from. Holy cow, if you're looking at the chat, all over the place, quite a few. Washington, we've got a Waco, Texas exclamation point. We have Alaska, we have Massachusetts, we've got Colorado, several from California, Nevada. Wonderful. Well, thank you for letting us know where you're coming from. We hope that that everything's going well in all of your cities, and that the weather is perfect, and that you've had a good day to this point. Well, let me go ahead. My name is Steve Keller. I am the Director of Admission here at Gonzaga. And it's my privilege to introduce this student employment team from our Student Financial Services Office. They are the experts. And speaking from personal experience, we have the great privilege of being able to work with many student employees in the Office of Admission. And we're so grateful for them. They really add so much life, light, vitality, and enthusiasm to everything that we do on our admission team. And I can also say from my colleagues across campus with whom I've spoken, we as a university really value and appreciate you as a student employee. We celebrate your wins. We're here to support you with your academics, and to hear about some challenges, and to provide any type of support that we can to you as students. And we're just very grateful for you for being so willing to help us as we try to make Gonzaga University an even better place than it already is. So with that, I will go ahead and turn the time over to our amazing student employment team, and I will be as a resource on the background.
Thanks, Steve. Welcome again to all of our admitted Gonzaga students. My name is Sarah Grote, and I work as the Associate Director of Student Employment, and am one of your hosts this evening. You may have noticed we are recording this webinar for those who are unable to attend, or for you to review later. Additionally, it will be posted on the Admissions YouTube channel, and you will receive a copy in your email in the coming days. During our presentation, we would love to answer your questions. Tonight, we will begin with talking about the benefits of working on campus, and then transition into how to job search. So we may wait to answer some of your questions, as the information will be provided a bit later in the session. Some of our colleagues will answer questions, or we may answer some of them live. I want to stress we will only answer questions in the Q&A. We will try our best to answer as many questions as possible. As a reminder, please do not disclose any personal information, as everyone will be able to see this information. If you have specific questions, please don't hesitate to contact our Student Employment Office. Additionally, throughout the evening, we will be utilizing some poll questions to make it a bit more interactive. At this time, let's do some introductions. Katrina.
Hello there. My name is Katrina Rambo, and I am a counselor on the student employment team and also serve as a student worker supervisor. Very glad to be here tonight to kind of present this information and help you guys get off to a good start. Today, we are excited to have a Gonzaga student worker joining us to share their story. So I'll turn it over for introductions. Elsie, why don't you share a little bit about yourself?
Hi, everyone. I'm Elsie. From Alaska. I'm an economics major, and I worked at the Student Financial Services as an administrative assistant for about 2 years now.
Great. Thanks for taking your time out of your busy day to be with us. So let's go ahead and just dive in. Before we go any further, we wanted to take a moment to highlight our vision for student employment. So please take a moment to read over the vision. As you can see, we are committed to upholding Gonzaga's overall mission and use our office's vision to streamline the student employment process to best serve our student workers and supervisors. Our policies are developed with the utmost of care and reflect the value of working while in college. At this time, Sarah is going to share our office's contact information in the chat, so you will have it for questions now or later. When assisting students, we take a team approach, so know that anyone on our staff can assist you. We invite you to reach out with questions at any time. Regardless of who you have spoken to on our team, we can all pick up where the discussion left off and assist you to keep the student employment process moving forward. Please know if you don't get your questions answered today or come up with additional questions later on, we are here to support you.
Tonight in this info session, we hope you gain insight on how to navigate the student employment process, learn about the benefits of working, and be prepared to launch your job search in early August. This will help you come to campus prepared and ready to potentially work. On Gonzaga's campus, you may hear the word work study and student employee used interchangeably. So what is work study? Work study is a funding type based on a student's FAFSA information. Students can see if they have been awarded through their financial aid offer in ZagWeb. Work study funding is available on a first-come, first-served basis. If you aren't sure if you've been awarded work study, you can review your financial aid offer in ZagWeb. Not sure how to view your financial aid offer? Please visit gonzaga.edu/offer. Keep in mind, work study funding is not a guarantee of student employment. However, if your student hasn't been awarded work study, they can still work on campus. Students are truly in the driver's seat of their job search. Let's take a moment and launch our first poll question. If you could take a moment and answer, is work study required to be a student employee? Give it just a couple more seconds. We've got about 70% of people that have responded. All right, we're gonna close that poll and share our results here. Great, it looks like you guys are well aware that you do not have to have work study.
Now that we know it's possible for any student to work, let's talk about the feasibility of doing so. What would you do with $130 extra a week? In Washington State, the minimum wage is $16.28 per hour, and this is the typical pay rate for on-campus jobs. In recent years, we've had over 1,200 student employees working on campus, Rest assured, you won't be the only one working while going to college. You will see a lot of your peers juggling their schedules to work around campus too. The average earnings per semester are around $1,500, and the money is paid directly to you and is not applied to your GU bill. You get to manage your earnings. Students on average work about 8 to 10 hours a week, but never more than 20. This limit is in place to ensure you have adequate time to focus on your academics while balancing work along with your social activities. We'll talk a little bit more about how to launch your job search later on, but for now, just know that you get to select which jobs you apply for and ultimately the job offer you'd like to accept. We hope each student selects a job they enjoy doing. From my perspective as a supervisor, the student truly is in the driver's seat for mapping out reasonable work hours to fit around their class schedule. For example, one of our student workers, Delara, has been with our office for about a year and chose to work about 10 hours per week. Delara was able to schedule a few hours of work per day in between classes. Her schedule was different each day, and she even needed to take Tuesdays off, which was no problem at all. Dolores had plenty of time to get to and from work, classes, and takes time off as needed to meet with professors, attend study groups, and enjoy the holiday and break periods. The key to making this setup work is through our regular check-ins and effective communication. So at this time, I'd like to call upon Elsie to hear some insight. Can you please share with us how you fit your job into a busy schedule?
Yeah, 100%. So I fit it into by every time I register for classes and I know my class schedule, I send it over to my boss, whichever hours will work best for me. And normally I try avoiding the early 8 a.m.s, but I go ahead and schedule, such as like the previous semester, I couldn't work Tuesdays and Thursdays, but that was no issue. I worked Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and I've worked from 13 to 16 hours a week before, and I've been able to manage it very well because your supervisors know you're in school and that you have classes, so they're really flexible with what your schedule entails.
Great, Sarah. So let's go ahead and launch our second poll.
Give it just another second or two. We've got about almost 90% participation, which is amazing. Gonna end the poll and share those results. So it looks like you guys are right. Most students work on average of 8 to 10 hours per week, but work hours are mapped out directly with the supervisor and can vary from semester to semester and during midterms and finals. But you can work up to 20 hours, so that's great. So now let's explore some of the benefits of working on campus. Some of you may be thinking, why would I work on campus when I can work off campus? One of the main goals as a student employee is to be able to balance academics, work, and your other obligations. Let's see what our expert has to say. Elsie, can you share a bit of why you chose to work on campus as opposed to an off-campus job?
Yeah, definitely. So the reason I chose to work on campus, it was mostly because it's more convenient for me that way. In between awkward class schedules, I can just go to a building on campus, and in between classes, I can go ahead and do my work. And it's more convenient than packing up everything, driving off campus, and then coming back and then trying to get back into work. And also, as I mentioned previously, supervisors on campus are very aware that you're a busy student and that you have a tight schedule. So they're willing to work around that other than some other jobs, maybe off campus, don't take that into consideration, such as finals week. You go ahead and give an updated schedule to your supervisor, and they can go ahead and help you work around really busy finals. And I don't think that you would get that same consideration off campus.
Great. Thank you so much, Elsie. Our office has identified 6 areas that students can benefit from while working on campus. Some of these areas Elsie just touched on, but the first area we'd like to highlight is flexibility. Working on campus means that your job is just a short walk away from whichever campus building you're in. This can be helpful when you're heading straight to work from class. If you have an awkward break between classes, that's the perfect way to fit work in. Not only is it conveniently placed, but your supervisor is also happy to support your busy schedule. Student supervisors understand that there is a lot on a student's plate, so they are more than and happy to accommodate your work schedule with your class schedule, personal life, and general well-being. Accountability allows students to learn to balance their academics, work, and life. They learn to juggle different expectations, timelines, and responsibilities. Working on campus also allows the opportunity to network. Students not only meet those in their area that they're working, but have opportunities to connect with others in the Gonzaga community. These relationships allow the opportunity for mentorship and building professional ties. Experience. Working in an office comprised of both students, faculty, and staff, on-campus jobs will teach you about interactions with people and customers working in the real world. Staff and faculty love to interact with students and are more than willing to help a ZAG, whether that's answering questions about work or non-work related. Furthermore, the skills you will learn on the job are invaluable and can be transferred into any job that you will have in the future. Many on-campus jobs are customer-facing and teach you excellent customer service skills, which can be applied to any job that you move on to next. Other jobs can integrate more critical thinking or problem solving, giving you a wide variety of jobs to choose from based on which skills you are most interested in exercising on a day-to-day basis. That being said, almost all of our jobs have pieces of all of these: interpersonal, communication, problem solving, and critical thinking. So don't feel like you can go wrong choosing a job, even if it's not directly correlated to your field of study. Less debt. For all students, no matter their financial aid or background, having an on-campus job is a wonderful way to incur less debt. This income can be used to buy anything from books for classes, groceries, and having some extra spending money. On-campus jobs come with an invaluable benefit and can be easily managed with your class schedule. Having this extra income on the side offers students the opportunity to become financially independent for the first time, making it an excellent experience of independence and responsibility that can be used in interviews and jobs in the future. And the way our student employment payment is set up is students are paid directly. It does not go to their student account. So just know that your student is going to receive a paycheck, and it is up to them what they do with those funds. Finally, we have career exploration. This transition from being a student to the next step in life can seem intimidating, but an on-campus job offers a platform that can be used to get to know what you may be interested in pursuing for a future. A job can help you hone in on what you are passionate about and what you want to spend your time doing, on top of discovering what you don't like, both on campus and beyond.
Throughout your student employment journey, our goal is to help you develop your work values and the skills needed to set yourself up for a future career. It's not just about making money to pay for college, but using this time to explore your options. By working, we hope you will gain effective communication skills, professionalism, and transferable skills. This is the time to define what type of worker you want to become. Let's talk just a little bit about each of these skills. First, effective communication is one of the essential abilities a student employee can demonstrate. Take the time to develop your communication style and let it evolve. It can be as simple as knowing in advance who to contact if you need to implement a schedule change or report an absence. Use active listening skills to learn about your job duties and performance expectations. Ask for clarification on projects and put forth your suggestions too. Also be willing to take direction. Use nonverbal communication to stay engaged in conversation. like making eye contact, smiling, taking notes, and just show that you are being attentive. The next skill is professionalism, which focuses on how individuals present themselves in behavior, attitude, and appearance at the workplace. Developing professional habits doesn't happen overnight, so embrace the gradual process and learn from those around you, such as a supervisor or mentor. Here are some helpful tips. Be productive and focused. Come to work with the mindset of working, and know you aren't being paid to study, so take a break from your academics to refresh your mind. Utilize your time effectively and avoid distractions such as cell phone usage. Find a routine to start your workday. Be on time and ready to approach your supervisor to understand the day's priorities. Begin to create your own style. Come to work with a positive, approachable attitude and show a willingness to take on the day. This impression can follow you in a reference later on. Dress appropriately for your job and know that most campus jobs have a casual dress code, so you can easily transition from class into work with ease. Now let's discuss how transferable skills demonstrate job readiness to employers. It's never too early to develop the skills you need to stand out to future employers. Samples of these skills may include problem solving, time management, attention to detail, critical thinking, and customer service. The experts in our Career and Professional Development Office suggest you keep track of these new skills along the way by keeping your resume up to date. This is just one of the helpful tips that they have to share. We invite all students to get acquainted with their office and its free services. Even as an incoming freshman, you can get help to set up a resume or cover letter, develop an elevator speech, and set up a mock interview. Let the experts look over your documents and provide you with helpful feedback and advice so you have confidence to apply for jobs, even if you haven't worked before. So Elsie, can you please share some of the skills you have gained in your role as a student worker?
Certainly. I would say there are three main skills that I've gained. So mostly is communication skills. I talk all day on the phone when people call in and ask us questions. So I definitely have more experience with customer service now, and I feel like I've really gotten that down. Secondly is working with a team. So I work with student accounts, student employment, and student financial services or financial aid. And so when somebody calls in with a question, you have to find out who needs to help them, and you need to work with other people to go ahead and get the problem solved. So definitely teamwork. And thirdly, as an economics major, we use Excel a lot in work and in my classes. So it's really good to have that experience at work and in classes, so you get that double knowledge.
Great, thank you for sharing that.
So you've heard about some of the benefits and skills we hope you gain during your first year of student employment. Thinking of the Gonzaga campus, where do you think you could work? Or where might you want to work? Take a moment to think and share your answers in the chat. Rec center, Zag shop, food service, yep, our gym, the RFC, lifeguarding, yep, we have lifeguards, we have Foley Library, and we have our Chastic Law Library. Lots of great ones there. So I do see one that says food service or the cafeteria, and that is actually not hired through our student employment office. That is actually hired through Zag Dining, Sodexo's. We do have a coffee shop. So we have Thomas Hammer on campus, which is hired again independently from student employment. Lots of great ideas. Katrina, let's see where some of those places where people work on campus. So you can see here, we have a variety of different things from our academic departments, our bio and chemistry labs, our theater, our Joan Jump Museum, the campus newspaper, the Bulletin, and all of our schools of study and so many more opportunities to work on campus. But before we move on, let's launch our next poll question. And this is a commonly asked question that we haven't talked about yet. So let's see. Do I have to begin my job search in the fall semester? Take just another second to get those answers in. All right, we're going ahead and close the poll and share our results. You guys are right. No, you do not have to begin your job search in the fall semester, but it is best if you can secure a job in the fall as there are more options. As spring is a little bit more limited because we see students continuing from fall to spring in their position. Some students have found it helpful to get a job in the fall, but then they work with their supervisor to wait to start until maybe the second week of class once they've kind of settled in. All right. So we're going to pause for a moment. Steve, do we have any burning questions in the Q&A or in that you've seen?
We have one right now. If you check yes to the work study option, does it guarantee you will help the student find a job for the fall?
So regardless if the student has work study, we are here to help them find a position. Our team is available to answer questions and help them with their job search. Work study, unfortunately, just doesn't guarantee a position on campus.
We've got another question. Can the job search begin now, or is summer a more appropriate time to submit resumes and applications?
So that is a great lead into what is coming next. So we're going to pause on that question for our next part of our presentation.
Great.
Perfect.
So yeah, let's go ahead and look at how to find student employment positions in that timeline. So now that we've talked about the benefits of working, let's learn how and when to do the job search. So here is a glance at the timeline so you will know what to expect. So in July, you'll receive an email from the Career and Professional Development Office letting you know you have access to Zegs Ignite, which is the job search platform. You'll want to set up your profile and learn to navigate around Zegs Ignite, upload your resume so it can run through the review and approval process. And if you need help getting a resume together, schedule an appointment with one of our experts, basically. In early August, this is really when things begin. The Student Employment Job Board opens, so mark your calendar to get started with your job search. Map out your availability to work, launch your job search, and apply for several positions of interest. Don't just apply for one, but select several. That way you see what kind of options you have in front of you. Be prepared to hear back from supervisors to schedule interviews via phone, virtual meetings, or through your Zeg mail. Even though you won't be on campus yet, these initial conversations can get started. After you apply for jobs, be sure to follow up in about 2 weeks to get a status update and just simply continue to show interest. Once you accept a job offer, you will need to go through a student employment hiring and onboarding process, and you should watch for your email for detailed instructions on all of those steps. So let's have Sarah show us around Zegs Ignite, which is a system you will use for that job search.
Thanks, Katrina. In your email, you should receive a link that will take you directly to sign in to Zags Ignite. However, that's not going to come until July. So I just want to make sure you're aware. July is when you're going to get access to Zags Ignite in that email. But we want to take a moment to walk you through what do you do when you don't have that email. So if you aren't familiar with MyGU or my.gonzaga.edu, this is an easy way to access things you will commonly use from Zags Ignite, Zag Web, Morning Mail, and so much more. In this case, we want to access Zags Ignite. When you log into MyGU, you will be able to add apps that you frequently use. In this case, we want to add Zags Ignite, so we select the plus to add. This then populates apps you are able to add. In this case, we're looking for Zags Ignite. As the items are displayed in alphabetical order, we scroll to the bottom, select the plus to add it to My Apps. Now Zags Ignite has been added into our apps and we can select it to begin the login process. Now you're going to select students or alumni and then current students single sign-on. This should then sign you in. You will then be prompted to answer a few questions to set up your profile the first time. Now that you have set up your profile, you will land on the homepage displayed here. The homepage can change depending on upcoming events. Let's look at a couple of the key things you will use when searching for student employment. One of the first things we recommend you do is upload your resume. The reason we suggest this is it is because it's going to go through a review process by Career and Professional Development, meaning you can't begin applying for jobs right away. And remember, the job board isn't going to open yet for the academic year until August. To upload your resume, in the upper right-hand corner, select your initials and then My Documents. After selecting My Documents, you land in your Documents area. You would select Add New and label the item. An example for the label would be Resume 52424. Select your file and then submit. Once you submit your resume, it will show in your Documents area as pending. Once it has been reviewed, you can view it and look at the feedback and update your resume if needed. You also will notice you can upload other documents if necessary. Some job postings may ask for a cover letter, your class schedule, samples of work, etc. These items can all be uploaded here, but do not require approval. The resume review process can take 24 to 48 hours and sometimes a bit longer depending on the time of the year. The best part of the review process is the ability to get feedback on your resume. The goal is you have the best representation of yourself, as it's your first impression when you apply for positions. This is why it's so important to do this step early, and it allows time for review. One thing I want to note, if you don't have a resume or you're not really sure what to put on your resume, the Office of Career and Professional Development is a fantastic resource. You can actually schedule appointments with them. And if you're like, wow, I have all this community service experience or leadership experience, they can help tailor your resume to highlight those skills that you have if you don't have work experience. So just something I want to throw out there. They are a fantastic resource, the Office of Career and Professional Development. Now that we have our resume uploaded, let's take a look at how to job search. Let's assume it's August and the job board has opened. So to view student employment positions, we're going to select jobs from the banner. We have now landed in the job board. Zags Ignite not only displays student employment positions, but it also displays full-time, part-time, internships, and much more all in one location. This can become overwhelming. This is why we recommend applying some filters to help you with your job search. So in this case, we're going to change the position type to student employment and hit apply. And then we're going to change it from all jobs and interviews to jobs I qualify for. So now we're only seeing the student employment positions in the job board. Now that you've reviewed positions, let's take a look at the application and interview process. Now you have selected positions you'd like to apply for. Select apply and a new window will launch to you to have to upload your resume and any supporting documents necessary. Then don't forget to push submit. To ensure you have applied for positions you thought you did, go to My Job Applications. If you see no records, that means your application wasn't submitted. If you see the job posting, then you know you have applied for those positions. Now that you have applied for positions, be on the lookout for communications from employers. This communication can come in the form of a phone call or an email to your ZAG mail. Interviews may involve a Zoom video call or a telephone interview. So now that you have applied and begun the interview process, let's take a look at what happens if you get hired or you continue in your job search. So what happens if you're offered a position? If you secured a position, the next step is to be onboarded as a student employee. Student employment is real employment, and as such, will need to complete a hiring form in the Form I-9. Your supervisor will provide you with information on how to complete the hire form, and our office will communicate via your ZAG mail the requirements. One thing we want to stress is the importance of bringing proper documentation to complete the Form I-9 process. One of the main hiccups for students being able to start work is bringing copies of documents. The federal government requires the documents you present to be in original, physical form, and unexpired. Once you have completed the hire process and have been cleared by our office to begin work, work with your supervisor to finalize your schedule and begin working. What happens if you didn't land a position or the position you wanted? We encourage you to continue to search. Did you only look at the job board once? Did you look at it when it opened on August 1st and didn't go back in there? Hop back in there and take a look. Take a look and see if there's something new that's been posted and continue to apply. If you didn't hear back on an application and it's been more than 2 weeks, send a follow-up email and see where things are in the process. If you did hear back, did you get feedback on your interview? If not, don't hesitate to ask for feedback. When in doubt, reach out to our office for help. A member of our team is happy to sit down with you and help you with the process. So let's take a moment and launch one more poll. And our final poll question tonight is, where can I search for jobs? Give it just another second before we close our poll. All right, we're going to close our poll and share our results. So it looks like almost everybody got it right. Zags Ignite is our job board. There are a lot of things with Zag around here, and that's why Zag Web is where you can find a variety of things. But Zag Mail, your email, Zagtivities is going to have activities, and Zags Ignite is our job board. So just remember that. We will send communication when it is time for that job board to open in August. Watch morning mail. But Zags Ignite is your go-to for job searching.
So at this time, as we prepare to wrap up today's information session, we appreciate you joining us to learn about student employment at Gonzaga University and invite you to keep in connection with our office. If we didn't answer your questions here today, and Stephen will kind of see if we've got any more in the chat before we head out here, please be sure to reach out to our office directly via phone or email, and also feel free to visit our website. Hopefully this has been some great information to kind of at least help you consider whether you want to work. And I want to extend a special thanks to our student worker, Elsie, for sharing such helpful insight. So at this time, let's turn it over to Steve. Are there any questions that maybe we can answer or help folks out?
Yes, we've got some great questions in the question and answer. First, does work study go through breaks in summer or is it only during school?
Elsie, do you want to answer that?
Yeah, sure. So not all positions are hiring during the summer. I know that the mailroom doesn't hire during the summer, but I'm actually working in the summer right now. So yes, there are some positions that do offer working through breaks. I work through Christmas break and spring break, so you certainly can if you'd like to, if that position offers it.
Wonderful, thank you. Next question. If you get fired from a student employment job, are you blacklisted from other jobs?
So I think there's not an easy answer to that one. I think sometimes it's not the right job. And that's kind of what student employment is about, is learning about what things you're good at and what skills you need to still improve on. So I think it's just being open and honest with conversations that you're having with supervisors, because we want to set you up for success. And if it's not a good fit, that's totally okay.
Oh, is there a specific date in July when Zags Ignite opens? And what about a specific date in August for the job board opening?
So the job board typically opens around August 1st. We always say early August just in case. But we will post something in morning mail when it does go live. So definitely keep your eyes peeled in your Zag mail, or you can go directly to the morning mail website to see that. July is not a specific time. I'd say mid-July. Lots of times it's triggered by registration. So as academic advising and things are getting you guys all set up for the upcoming year, you kind of get that push. But the big thing is just getting your resume in there when you have access. So that way you are set up for success to start applying, because that is the piece that you need for approval.
Wonderful. When is a good time to apply for jobs for the second semester?
So that can vary. It's sometimes between mid-December and early to late January. Kind of depends. Some students are communicating with supervisors that they're heading out to study abroad or graduating. So sometimes we see those postings come in early December, but I would say it's probably more mid January when you guys are coming back from winter break.
Um, how is the application process work with, how does it work with things like the coffee shops, dining services, items and shops, locations in like Hemmingson and around campus?
Yeah, so all things through Zag Dining, if you go to their website, they do have a student employment page where they post their positions. And typically around orientation time, when you guys are here on campus, they have signs out where you can snap the QR code or just stop over and take a look at their website would be my biggest suggestion. But I'd say they're around the same time as we are, because all those places are getting ready to open in August when you guys are here.
Are all positions paid the same wage? And if so, are they all minimum wage?
I would say most of our positions are minimum wage. Minimum wage in the state of Washington is 16.28 an hour. So that's a pretty decent wage. And that's how it's pretty easy to get that extra cash with only 8 to 10 hours a week.
Uh, can you revisit how to apply for work study positions, the compensation for which is applied directly to your tuition?
So any student employment position, whether it's funded through work study funding or institutional funding, is paid directly to the student. The student is going to get a paycheck, whether it comes as a paper paycheck or direct deposit. From there, it is up to your student what they choose to do with that money. So if they're saving it or if they're working with student accounts on the payment plan and making those payments, or if it's something that you guys have decided that it's spending money or money for books, it's kind of in the driver's seat of the student what they're doing with that paycheck.
Maybe this is a good question for Elsie. Are you able to take days off easily, like the weekends, to visit family and friends?
Well, luckily my office isn't open during the weekend, so I don't have to worry about weekends. But I find that as long as you communicate with your supervisor in advance and definitely give them due time to find somebody to go ahead and cover for you, I found that they're pretty flexible with that. So they understand that sometimes you need time to cool off or have a weekend away, or a few days. So yeah, as long as you communicate ahead of time, I found that they're really understanding about that.
Thank you. And there are a couple of questions that are related. Do you have to reapply every year? And are most jobs semester length or academic year length?
Katrina, you want to answer those?
Yeah, I would say most students sign up to have their job for the whole academic year, unless they're planning to study abroad in a couple, like in their junior year or something like that. Most students just utilize those jobs all, both fall and spring semesters, and sometime continuing on into the summer as well.
Is it common for first year students to be hired, or does priority go to upperclassmen?
So there is a reason our job board opens in August, and that is to allow incoming students that opportunity to have the ability to apply. If our job board was open now, and students haven't even made decisions, they would be at a disadvantage. So we have some strategy to make sure that you guys are definitely included in that recruitment process. So that's why we wait till August.
And I think just as a quick follow-up to that, I think it's great for all of you that are thinking about getting jobs to really start paying attention to morning mail as it gets a little closer to August. And we will really put out some emails and some information to really identify when it's time to kind of hop on and get going with that job search.
Next question. Someone said that the jobs are not paying you to study. I thought it was part of the purpose of work study that there were jobs where you did often have time to study. I saw people working on campus in the library and the gym, and they were totally studying. So it seems to me some jobs are better for that than others. What are your thoughts on this?
Our philosophy on that is that the intention of students having jobs is to be able to step away from their academics and just kind of give their mind a little bit of rest and then put their wholehearted effort into their positions. And if they've run out of projects, to kind of check in with their supervisor, let them know about their availability. But the concept is when you're at work to kind of just focus on work and set academics aside for a bit.
Thank you. Um, is what's the difference? Let me check real quick. Are there any jobs that are only restricted to upperclassmen?
There may be a handful for like our lab classes. For example, you might have to have a prerequisite of having some coursework. Um, so there are a little bit of restrictions, but if you use those filters that we talked about, seeing the student employment jobs and jobs I qualify for, that's going to pull in the positions that you are able to apply for. So you wouldn't be able to see those that do have some of those requirements.
Is there a priority for getting a job with work study students?
I'll take that one. There is not really, I wouldn't say it's a priority. We basically open the job at the job board at the same time for everyone. We have a mix of work study positions as well as non-work study positions out there. So we really try to get as many students who want to work, interested in working, and in those seats, basically filling those positions. Again, there's never a guarantee that a student's going to get a job. And that's really why we invite students who are struggling with the job search to get connected to our office so that we can assist with that. So we really have a fair hiring scenario set up so most students can jump in and get jobs.
And maybe I can jump in here. The people over that work in student employment, Katrina, Sarah, their colleagues, they're so wonderful to work with. If you have any questions or concerns, reach out, and they're so helpful. So yeah, wonderful, wonderful resources over there. What is here's another question. Can a students have two jobs on campus at one time?
I can answer. So students can, however, our hope is that you find one job that meets your needs. Um, we don't want you to be stretched too thin as a student. And then that adds another thing that you're juggling with class, life, work. So we hope that you can find one, but yes, you can have two.
Um, Here's a question. What is the difference between a work-study job and a regular job?
Go
Sarah, you
ahead,
want to
Katrina.
take that one? Okay, I'll take that. So I'm not sure what the definition of regular job is, but all of our jobs across campus, whether someone is funded institutionally or through work study, an admin assistant is an admin assistant, period, end of story. If the question is more directed towards, gosh, should I go off campus and try to get a regular job? I do think as freshmen, students won't find as much flexibility and as much understanding from outside employers. And we really want you to be able to focus on academics and kind of balance in work along with that. So for the most part, kind of focusing on these on-campus jobs, which really provide flexibility, whether students are hired through the work study program or non-work study funded.
Thank you. There's some concern about uh, accepting a work study, some work study funding with the financial aid offer, and possibly not being able to get a position on campus. Would you be able to describe that relationship between accepting it on the financial aid offer and having a work study opportunity on campus?
So if you're accepting your work study or your work opportunity on your financial aid offer, it does not impact you negatively. Your student does not receive those funds until they have secured a position and they receive a paycheck for the hours they've worked. So there really is no negative side to accepting that in their financial aid offer.
And for students who do accept that in their financial aid offer and are counting on those funds, um, what is uh, what is the process to help them obtain that employment so that they can count on those funds?
So work study is not a guarantee of employment. My best suggestion is hit the ground running in July, get your documents uploaded, and then be ready to start your search on in early August when that job board opens. That means when that job board opens that you're in there. And that's not the only time you look at the job board, because I will have students that come to our office and say, yep, I hopped in on day one and I applied. And I'm like, great, but what happened the other 3 weeks in between there? And they haven't been back in the job board to see new postings that were open. So those things we talked about on that last slide, following up with applications, um, reaching out, asking for feedback, and when in doubt, coming to talk to our office and see, maybe there's something you missed or something we can help you with in the job search.
What official documents are typically needed when a student is hired?
Great question. So we use an online system to do our Form I-9. So students are actually completing page 1 of the Form I-9 online, and then they receive an emailed copy of the acceptable documents they can bring. Some of examples of the documents are a passport, that would be a list A item, or they would need a list B and C items, such as their student ID and their social security card. Or another list B item would be their driver's license and birth certificate, which would be their list C. So those are a few examples.
Wonderful. is the jobs I qualify for filter based on the resume upload and flags that are set based on the content of the resume? Or is there a form that is filled out that sets the flags?
Great question. So in Zags Ignite, which is that online job search system, you do have the option to set up a profile, and there's just some basic information that will do a little bit of the filtering, but it doesn't really have anything to do with the resume that you upload. So if you feel like you have very little experience or no experience at all and have maybe a light resume, the system is not scanning, looking for keywords or anything like that. When you set those filters in Zags Ignite, it's going to show you all the jobs, student employment jobs that you are eligible for, and you should have a full range of choices before you.
Excellent. Thank you. And then we have a question. Could you just really quick explain what work study does?
So basically, work study is a place marker on a student's financial aid offer. It is considered need-based aid, and it basically is just a place marker sitting there, helping students kind of expand out their job search options, because we do have some positions which are maybe work study only and not hired as an outright scenario. So it's just basically communicating and hopefully encouraging students to utilize that place marker and then jump into their job search. Again, work study is not a guarantee of employment. It is simply that opportunity.
Thank you.
Mhm.
All right. Do we have any last minute questions? We have just a couple of minutes left. Wonderful questions so far, everybody. Excellent. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for coming to participate. If there are any questions moving forward about student employment, please feel free to reach out to the contact information that's listed on this slide. I'll repeat again, these people are just so wonderful to work with. Please reach out if you have any questions. We're so excited that you're planning on being ZAGs this fall. You can also reach out to the Office of Admission if you have any admission-related questions. We're happy to help as well. But we hope everybody has a wonderful evening. Thank you so much for joining, and go Zags.